Hello everyone and welcome to my video on effectively using minion waves, including the benefits of doing so and how to achieve it. I'm Melyn, a Master Tier Zyra one-trick who plays her in all 5 roles. This guide will focus on controlling minion waves in the laning phase, but the content can easily be transferred to mid-game and beyond. Also, we'll be focusing on the longer lanes, top and bottom, but the facts will hold for mid lane as well, although it is shorter. We'll begin with the pros and cons of different wave positions, dividing them up into 5 different ones, and in the next section we'll talk about how to manipulate them. The first is what you usually see at the beginning of the game, barring any proxy singed players: the middle minion wave. It won't naturally shove to either side, and neither person is particularly prone to ganks. The only real thing to be aware of here is that the enemy jungler may sneak into a lane brush. The second is my favorite position for the lane to be in front of my tower. The only way to get ganked here is dove from behind or dove from the lane brush, which I can easily ward, and I can harass without fear of a melee diving me, as I have the turret at my back. This also leaves the enemy vulnerable to ganks. If I'm far ahead, this is the best place for the wave to be, as I can zone the enemy away from CS while still being safe. The only downside to this position is that if the minion waves are equal, it will start shoving to the other side, but more on that later. The third is directly under my turret. This makes it difficult to farm and often leads to your tower dying early, giving the enemy team a gold advantage and lowering your pressure by a large margin. Furthermore, if the enemy jungler is invading, this makes it extremely difficult to help, as you will lose a large amount of gold and experience to tower while gone. Still, sometimes this is where you need the wave to be if you are extremely far behind and risk getting killed. If that's the case, try to green ward or pink nearby so you can find out if the enemy jungler plans to dive and call for help. Another pro of this position is that it again makes the enemy vulnerable to ganks, but be careful that you don't force a gank through a large minion wave, as that will make you take a large amount of damage and almost sacrifices as much minion gold as you may get from a kill. The fourth is my least favorite location, near but not under the opponent's turret. Here you are extremely vulnerable to ganks and chases, can't get turret damage, and if you're Zyra, you can't reliably harass, as the tower will kill your plants after one attack. If you wait long enough given an equal minion wave, it will shove to you, but oftentimes the best thing to do is hard shove under turret to reset. The last wave position I want to talk about is underneath the enemy's turret. This works exactly the opposite as underneath yours. The pros are that you can follow invades, you can get turret damage, and it can be easier to harass since the enemy will be focused on last hitting. The cons are you are again very vulnerable to ganks. Okay, enough about the benefits and costs of certain wave positions, let's talk about how to achieve them. The main fact for doing this is the following: equal minion waves will shove in favor of whichever side they're on. You can see this in this clip where I delay the first wave so that they meet closer to the opponent's turret. The second wave arrives faster for them, so my minions die more quickly, snowballing the process even more. Always be aware of this fact when trying to manipulate minion waves. Still, it's possible to freeze a minion wave near your turret, as the key words in the previous fact are equal minion waves. To freeze, just make sure to keep more minions in the enemy wave than in your wave. There are a lot of ways to do this. If you have shields, a lot of armor, lifesteal, or heals, you can simply tank the minions until your wave arrives. If you're Zyra, you can use your plants to do this for you, and is my most common method of freezing, as it works regardless of whether there are enemy champions or not. Finally, the most restrictive but easiest way to freeze is the following. Provided nobody is nearby and they don't have vision in the brush, you can rapidly walk in and out of Fog of War to confuse the minion waves so that they don't go to turret and don't really attack you. This clip shows it a bit, but is not ideal as I'm a level 1 Zyra, so still end up taking damage. We'll end with a comment on what to do if the enemy freezes the wave and you're behind, vulnerable, and want to get it on your side. The best way of doing this is just hard shoving the wave. Push as fast as you can while keeping enough cooldowns to protect yourself so that the wave goes underneath the enemy turret. This eliminates the minion advantage, and the next wave will likely have near equal minions closer to their side, where it will again start pushing towards you. This may take a little bit of time though, so if you're very scared, it's a great time to either farm jungle camps, provided your jungler can spare them, or back for some items. And that's pretty much it. I hope this provided some information about minion wave management. If you have any questions, you can ask me on my stream, in the comments below, or on Twitter. Thanks for watching, and may your enemies feel the thorns embrace.